Go.
What do you mean?
I had a video going.
Oh, I think this is where the sense of freedom like is misused, you know? Because now we say God gives us free will, therefore we can do whatever we want. But then you can take that into like also like worshiping certain things. But like you might not see it as worshiping, but the way you have it in your life is kind of worshiping, right? So like you can see like let's talk about weed. You know, I smoke weed and I love weed.
Mm-hmm.
So like in some aspects of my life you could say like the hold weed has on me is my God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the sin comes in. It's like, yeah, you have free will, but like what is the intentions and does it how is your soul?
Yeah. How does it affect
You
you? Yeah.
know? How is your soul?
Where's your placement?
Where's your placement with these things? So I find that interesting. And that's what I struggle with so much. I struggle with that so often.
Loki, I do too.
Because it's like
Cause like you have.
I understand like yeah you have freedom and yeah blah 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 blah, but it's like I know the true sense of freedom. It's like I know God at the end of the day wants me to worship Him, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
For me, is that like, it's not that he wants you to necessarily worship him. It's that he just wants you to a way. For me, a way of worship is to be happy that I am here. He woke me up for a reason. So that's my way. Like me.
yeah, I mean I understand and
And
you can be happy and you could be grateful that God has given you this life, but if you're not even if you're not practicing that exercise, what's the point?
but people have their own way of practicing it. Like this is my way of practicing it. I was dead ass. I don't think I was gonna really do anything today. But I decided to just get up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get up because he woke me up. I'm gonna get up. I'm not just soak in bed. I'm gonna get up and move stuff around and do stuff.
It's interesting. After the death, oh, I can't say that name, so I'm gonna move on. The next king was Josiah, who was a little boy of only 8 years old when he became king. At first, one of the princes ruled for him because he was so young, but all the time he was doing his best to serve God in the right way. As soon as he was old enough, he commanded all of the idols and altars to false gods in the land should be broken down and burned. With his servants, he even crossed to Israel, which was now had very few people left after the Assyrians had taken the rest away and broke down the altars there. When he came down to Bethel, where Jeroboam had built a temple 200 years before and made the golden calves for the people of Israel to worship, he broke the temple and the altar and set all right everything that would burn. When all this work of cleansing was done, Josiah went back to Jerusalem to see that all that had anything at all to do with idols worship was taken away and destroyed. While his workmen were busy around the temple, Hilkiah the high priest found there the book of the law. He took it once to the king, and Shaphan, the king's scribe, read it to him. When the king heard the law and understood how much wrong had been done in the land, he was so upset he tore his clothes, and then he told the temple leaders to ask God what he and the people of Judah must do to be forgiven, because they had been forefathers and had broken his laws. He knew they were all in great danger and were sure that God would punish them for what they had done. The temple rulers went to the prophets called Huldah and told her that the king's request. This was Huldah's answer. This is what the Lord God of Israel says. Go and tell the man that has sent you that I will cause great disaster to come upon this place and its people because they turned away from me and served idols. This land and this people must be punished for their evil that they have done. But because King Josiah has served me faithfully in this sorrowful over all the sins of nations, I will not punish Judah in his time. These terrible things will happen to Judah only after his death. That's really fucked up. God is like this, reading this, that just like, bitch, what the fuck?
Is that what was it? Angry God?
Yes.
That's Old Testament.
No, I understand, but like that's not fucking fair.
That's why I'm like,
He's punishing these people
That's-
after the king's death.
that's the part where I'm like, I don't agree with that. I feel like something right there. I feel like that right there is like.
You're holding a grudge, bruh.
That's why I'm like.
Isn't a grudge a sin?
That's why I say like, I don't think God cares that much to where He will do something like that. That's why I'm like, New Testament God sounds more right, where He just kind of gives you the word and you do what you can, and if whatever happens
He
to
gave up. He said,
thank you.
He said,
It's like
Jesus.
there's the word. Here's your word. There you go. You do what you want with that.
After receiving this message, the king called together all the elders from all parts of the land and all the people of Jerusalem to a great meeting at the temple gates. He stood beside one of the great pillars at the door and read to them the law from the book that had been found. Then together they made a solemn promise to keep all those laws faithfully. And to the end of Josiah's life, they were careful to live according to the laws and commandments of God. But the king did not live for many years after that. Up to this time, Judah, like all the nations around about, was part of the Assyrian Empire. But the empire had become weak and was falling apart. Egypt was getting stronger and decided to make the war against the Assyrians to attack them. Pharaoh Necho led his army up through Judah, and Josiah felt that because his country was still part of the Assyrian Empire, he must try to stop the Egyptians' advance. Then Pharaoh sent the messengers to tell him that he had no fight with Judah, but only with the king of Assyria. Josiah would not listen and had sent his army to fight against the Egyptians in the valley of Megiddo. That day the men of Judah were very badly beaten, and the arrow hit King Josiah himself, so that he died in his chariot. His body was taken back to Jerusalem to be buried there. Wow. When Josiah died, the people of Judah made his son Josiah their king. Josiah had been a very good king, but his son was a wicked man. At that time, the whole Assyrian Empire was crumbling to ruins. The capital, Nineveh, the great city that had been destroyed, and the war was raging on sides. For a time, the Egyptian king, Pharaoh Necho, became the ruler of all the land from Egypt right up to the river Euphrates. Oh my gosh. Jehoahaz, and the people of Judah had to pay tribute to him. The Pharaoh did not trust Jehoahaz and took him away into Egypt as prisoner. In his place, he made one of his brothers, Elisam, king of Judah, but he changed his name to Jehoiakim.
To what?
A lot of J names.
I know.
Crazy.
I know.
Jehoahaz had been king for only 3 months.
My flashlight.
And he died in prison in Egypt. The Pharaoh Jeremiah had foretold was never near the end of Jehoiakim reigned for 11 years, but he disliked his brother and ungodly people in worshipping idols. In his reign, the armies of Babylon began to conquer Egyptians.
My
For 3 years, Judah